How did one of hip-hop's biggest moguls go from sold-out arenas to a federal prison cell? Sean "Diddy" Combs, once seen as the king of hip-hop and a symbol of success, is now facing years behind bars. The man who built an empire from the ground up, the parties, the fame, the power, just received a shocking sentence in a New York courtroom. But what led to this stunning downfall? What did the jury hear that changed everything for one of the most powerful men in music? Stay tuned, because what happened next shocked the entire industry. Sean "Diddy" Combs has been sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in federal prison, along with a $500,000 fine. Prosecutors had pushed for more than 11 years behind bars, calling him unrepentant and citing years of abuse and manipulation. But the judge chose a lighter sentence, acknowledging Combs' apology and time already served. In a tense courtroom, Diddy stood before the judge and apologized to his former girlfriends, his family, and his community, calling his own behavior disgusting, shameful, and sick. He pleaded for a second chance, saying he wanted to show what a person could do if given the opportunity to change. But while the verdict marked the end of his criminal trial, the real shock came from what the testimony revealed about his private life. Sean "Diddy" Combs was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in federal prison and ordered to pay a $500,000 fine. Prosecutors had demanded more than 11 years, describing him as unremorseful and dangerous, but the judge decided on a shorter term, partly crediting the time he has already spent in custody. In court, Diddy broke his silence, apologizing to his former girlfriends, his family, and his community. He called his actions disgusting, shameful, and sick, and asked the judge to make him an example of someone who can change. The courtroom fell silent as he spoke, but the real drama wasn't the sentence itself. It was what came out during the trial, exposing the dark and disturbing side of his private life. Cassie Ventura took the stand and described her 11-year on-and-off relationship with Diddy as one filled with control, fear, and violence. She testified about the so-called freak-offs, drug-fueled encounters she said Diddy forced her into with male escorts while he watched or filmed. Another woman, known only as Jane, told the court she too was coerced, threatened, and beaten when she tried to resist. Jurors were shown hotel surveillance footage from 2016, capturing Diddy attacking Cassie in a hallway, a clip that left the courtroom stunned. And these weren't isolated claims. Witness after witness painted a disturbing picture of what life behind Diddy's fame was really like. Prosecutors painted Diddy as the mastermind of a 2-decade criminal enterprise built on power, money, and fear. They claimed he used his fame to orchestrate a secret world of escorts, drugs, and manipulation backed by employees who helped cover his tracks. Witnesses described a system of intimidation meant to silence anyone who dared speak out. Even high-profile names like Kid Cudi and Don Richard took the stand, adding weight to the case with their accounts of what they'd seen or experienced. Despite this mountain of evidence, the defense pushed a very different story. Diddy's legal team fought hard to dismantle the prosecution's narrative, insisting that every encounter was entirely consensual and part of what they called a swinger's lifestyle. They argued that the government twisted private moments into something criminal, and that no coercion or trafficking ever occurred. After the verdict, his lawyers tried to overturn the convictions and pushed for bail twice, but the judge rejected every request. As the sentencing loomed, victims spoke out once more. Before sentencing, Cassie Ventura submitted a powerful letter urging the court to hand down a tougher punishment. She wrote about the nightmares and flashbacks that still haunt her, saying she lives in constant fear that Diddy or his associates might retaliate. Her words painted the lasting trauma of years under his control. When Judge Arun Subramanian delivered his remarks, he said Diddy had abused the power and control with women you profess to love, calling his behavior physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. Yet despite the gravity of those words, the judge chose a sentence far shorter than what prosecutors demanded. So why did he stop at just over 4 years instead of the 11 they wanted? Judge Subramanian ultimately decided to hand down a sentence below the probation department's recommendation of 5 to 7 years. He acknowledged the pain of the victims and emphasized that abuse against women must be met with real accountability. But he also cited the sentencing guidelines and the jury's mixed verdict, which cleared Diddy of the most severe charges, as reasons for keeping the term shorter. In the end, the judge aimed to balance justice with fairness, making it clear that while Diddy's actions were inexcusable, the punishment would reflect the limits of what was proven in court. But this case isn't over, far from it. Even with the prison sentence set, Diddy's legal troubles are far from over. He still faces more than 50 civil lawsuits, accusing him of sexual abuse and misconduct cases that could stretch on for years and drain what's left of his empire. His legal team plans to appeal, but even after prison, he'll face 5 years of supervised release and constant public scrutiny. The damage to his brand, his businesses, and his legacy is already immense. Once celebrated as a hip-hop icon and business mogul, Diddy's name now stands as a symbol of downfall and disgrace. The question is this the final chapter of Diddy's empire, or just the start of an even bigger reckoning?